if I've learned anything from South Park, it's don't put an egg up your ass if you don't want to spit it out. Oh, oh, all of you farmers out there, you get the joke. I'm going to talk about a couple of things. One of them was the egg. You know, everybody talking about egg prices, and all this, and it's like, oh, geez. And the thing is, if the Christian nationalists had their way, none of us would be eating egg, because chicken is a creation of God, same as man, and as creations of God, nothing should be quelled in its ability to procreate. So they think you shouldn't have eggs. The price goes up. There's bird flu going on. There's a law that went into place in 2019 or something like that. Said they had 5 years to go cageless, no matter what that definition was. And from what I hear, a lot of these farmers, they weren't prepared. Why? Not because they didn't have the time and probably government subsidies to do it that was signed in that poor guy's time, and now it's come around. So it must have been 2020. They just didn't do it because they figured, yeah, he's got a plan, he's coming back, and we're not going to have to comply. So they didn't do what they're supposed to do. Why would they? Hey. But the egg, the abortive mindset of it, it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. It's got everything in there to survive, to be big enough to use its little, egg hook nose thing, egg tooth, to bust its way out of that shell when it comes time, when it goes stand up. It doesn't even get milk from its mother. It's making it on its own. That's beautiful, isn't it? And you say, well, we shouldn't have eggs. And really, the truth is, my dad had an interesting way of putting it, only interesting to people that want to change it based on how they feel they want it to be. But the idea of what this stands for in our human civilization, my dad would say, oh yeah, if they don't have them, they won't have anyone to kill. Yeah, he believed that government wanted us to have babies so he could, Uncle Sam could send us off to die. He wasn't a hippie. Really, what I was about to get to is this thing. Now they're saying they sent like $50 million worth of condoms to Gaza or something. And the thing is, up here, in here, I have a textbook about Africa, and I got it from my neighbor because he'd taken a class on it. I hadn't. I took a psychology and prejudice class and got kicked out. I was the only straight white male there. I don't think that woman liked me. She was a Southern Baptist white chick who talked about how smart she was all the time. but it was my cousin, my neighbor across the road. He'd had a class and he was getting ready to put the book out in the garage sale or something. And I looked and it was a text about Africa. And I always said, you know, if I'm on Jeopardy, my two losing categories are opera and Africa. I just don't know enough about either of those things. I haven't been exposed. They'll be my weak points. And when I saw that Africa textbook that was going out in the garage sale, I said, oh my God, I gotta have it. And I opened it up right in front of him. He'd had the class, and I said, look at that. It was about the spread of HIV in Africa. And it right away, where I opened it, covered a story about what they call dry sex. See, just like America, where we have lot lizards, they've got like lot lizards in Africa, only they're more like monitor lizards. They're dangerous. One bite and it could kill you. And so truck drivers would pull into truck stops and their wives are at home and their family and everything, but they'd drive around and for some reason, I think it made them feel big. It the women, they liked it that the women would squat in a 5-gallon bucket, like a pickle bucket from McDonald's. You want to know why not to eat from McDonald's? You know what they do with the pickle buckets? They fill it with bleach and they squat in it, and it dries their vagina out. This is in the textbook, and so when the truck drivers stop and get with them, um, it cracks and there is fluid transfer, and that's not good if you're dealing with a sexually transmittable disease. Generally, it takes transfer of blood. So they do this thing with that. You don't think HIV is spreading quickly in a situation like that? I mean, if you don't think, and there were not, whatever, if you don't think any amount of money spent sending it to a foreign country and infiltrating our own with condoms is enough, I believe that that's a bigger threat than a nuclear fucking weapon. They should be willing to spend at least as much money on condoms around the world every year as they spend on our entire nuclear program, because these fuckers don't want people to have condoms. You know, when you fuck the mayor's wife, the mayor's fucking his secretary, and you know who the mayor's secretary is fucking, it's probably you. So you know there's a lot of disease rolling around in there. Just fucking buy a condom. Oh, but then there won't be anyone left for them to kill.